Am I the asshole for not wanting my fiancé's friend in our wedding party? My F26 fiancé, M28, have been together for 4 years. He's been friends with Maya, F30, for 6 years. They're fairly close, but she doesn't like me much. It's usually not an issue, some people just don't mesh. We don't mesh. Edit to add. There's no heavy animosity and we can be near each other fine, we just don't talk when we are. We don't actively hate each other, just prefer not to hang out together. She isn't against us getting married and likely would say yes to being a bridesmaid to make him happy but isn't pushing for it herself. We're recently engaged and he'd like her to be a bridesmaid. I don't. He wants her in a dress matching my bridesmaids, on my side, participating in the things we're doing. I said absolutely not, she doesn't even like me. I've seen wedding photos where one bridesmaid clearly doesn't want to be with the bride and I don't want that. Plus I really only want the women closest to me as bridesmaids. I suggested she wear a black dress to match the men's tuxes and be a groomsman. He said that will look dumb and he doesn't want to do that. Because he's dead set against including her on his side with the men and their activities and I'm dead set against having her with me and my bridesmaids, he said I've effectively said she can't be in the wedding. I argued he's just as much at fault for not budging as I am, but he said I'm the one being unreasonable. Mind you, his only reason for not wanting her with his groomsmen is, that's dumb, just let her be a bridesmaid. Am I the asshole for not budging and basically keeping her out of the wedding party according to my fiancé? Not the asshole, it's his friend, she should be on his side. Maybe he's trying to force this on you to make you two get along, but that's such a bad idea that definitely won't work. Don't budge op. Not the asshole. His friend is his responsibility, not yours. He accuses you of saying she can't be in the wedding. As if you aren't allowed to not want her in it. As if IR is a bad thing not to want her in your wedding party. Girl, you're absolutely entitled to not want her in your wedding. She doesn't like you, you don't like her. Why would you be in the wrong about not wanting her? Don't argue that point anymore. Say it outright that he's right, you don't want her in your wedding party, so he can either invite her to be a groomswoman, if he wants her in the wedding party, or shut up and stop pestering you. Edit to add to the people who don't get context. Op doesn't want friend in her wedding party. Friend is more than welcome to be in the groom's wedding party or to just attend as a guest. Not the asshole. See if she can do a reading, give a toast, or participate in another meaningful, but non-attendant way on the big day. She is not bridesmaid material. Not the asshole. I don't want to project, but my ex-husband made a similar demand and, spoiler alert, we're divorced. Not because of our wedding party, but speaks to character. Not the asshole. She's his friend, not yours. If he wants her to be involved in the wedding party, he can have her on his side. If he thinks it'll look dumb to have a woman on his side, he can have her do a reading or be involved some other way. He can either have her on his side or not at all. I thought weddings were to have people who the bride's or groom's friends on their respective sides, not force them to the other side. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Speaking from experience, my sil asked me to be a bridesmaid years ago and I felt obligated to say yes. We are fine with each other, but same as you and Maya, we just don't mesh and aren't friends. I was uncomfortable at every event. I say that because it's really unlikely Maya wants to be a bridesmaid anyways and really wouldn't like coming to all the bridal events, just like you don't want her there. Stand your ground and don't feel bad, it's his friend and I highly doubt she cares. He's being weird for pushing this so hard on you. Makes me wonder if he already told her to expect the invite, which would make him a double awe. Not the asshole. Nothing wrong with her being a guest. Congrats. Bottle with popping cork. Am I the asshole for telling the kids their dad took this year's Christmas away from them? Please read before you judge, thank you. So I'm a working mother of 3 kids, 9, 11, 5. My husband used to have a job but was let go at the end of 2020 and hasn't worked since then. Yes, he worked in few places here and there like the gas station, but he couldn't keep it because he lacked motive and passion. All in all, our financial situation isn't so great, but I've decided to start saving money to be able to get the decent Christmas celebration the kids wanted and couldn't get in 2019-2020. I've put money aside to buy decoration and prepare meals and also gifts, but just a couple days ago found out that my husband had taken $500 out of my account, and from the money I saved, the rest of my salary goes to bills and grocery, and gave them to his little brother to help him out in child support. I found out and had a big argument with him about how he essentially stole this year's Christmas from the kids to help his irresponsible brother pay for child support. My husband apologetically said he had no choice and was pushed by family to contribute and pay part of his brother's child support, otherwise they won't see their nephews, grandchildren, since his brother's baby mama is vicious and spiteful. The kids came in and I just told them that unfortunately I can't afford Christmas this year and it's because of their dad who took it away from them by taking the money I saved. There was utter silence and my husband glanced at me in disbelief. He told the kids to go to their rooms and screamed, asking what the fuck is wrong with me to spout this kind of bullshit in front of the kids. I said it's the truth and that I sacrificed so much to save money to give the kids some joy this holiday, then he selfishly took the money and gave it away. He said he would pay me back in time before Christmas, but I don't see this possible since he don't even has gas money. He got pissed and said I shouldn't tell the kids that he took their Christmas money and that the psychological damage I'm doing to the kids is worth a lot more than money, and accused me of turning the kids against him and making them resent him for trying to help out a family member, and stormed off and spent time with his family, who accused me of causing my children mental traumas by saying their dad took Christmas away from them and alienating them from him. Adding this, just wanted to say that the kids know that mommy is the money who brings home money, and so if Christmas gets cancelled and because of money, then they'll think it's because of me. I had many conversations with them about it, and last thing I want is to see them disappointed in me for something that is not my fault. Thank you. Your husband sucks. Be done with his deadbeat self and family. At least alone, you won't have to worry about him stealing from you in addition to sucking up the family resources with no return. Not the asshole. 1. Your husband is a deadbeat, which apparently runs in his family. No way should have used that money to pay his brother's child support, especially when he's not doing anything to support his own family. Deadbeats suck. Looks like you married into a family of them too. You played a large part in ruining your children's Christmas by not only airing out your marital disputes to them, but also just tossing out Christmas altogether because your husband is a jerk. You had an opportunity to work with your children to teach them that Christmas isn't all about the money, gifts, things, and about family and togetherness. You still do. And instead you decided to use them to punish your husband. You and your husband need to have one-of-life conversations. Not the asshole. Why should Op take the blame for having no Christmas? She's the only breadwinner in the house. She sacrificed to make this happen. The husband needs to take some responsibility for this and explain to the kids why he felt his brother deserved Christmas more than they did. Op, I would leave this guy. He's dishonest, lazy, and steals from his own family. Huge character flaws that don't make for a good marriage. You will always be giving 110% and he will always be taking. We'll see if his brother gives him $500 to help when he owes you child support. Not the asshole. Kick him to the curb. He's placing his deadbeat brother and I guess his mom above you and your kids. He needs to go stay with one of them until he gets his act together and becomes an adult. Ask his mom or brother to send you the $500 for your kids and let them say no and explain why the other set of kids is more important. ETA. Please open a new account in just your name and keep most of your money in it. He never should have taken the money. Regardless of the reasoning. But you should not have said that to your kids. That was so unfair and manipulative to them. Not the asshole face with symbols on mouth, face with symbols on mouth, face with symbols on mouth, damn him. Furthermore, he lacks accountability and responsibility. Why does his family know how much money you have saved? I would open my own account without his name. Not the asshole. There is no excuse for him not to be working. There is even less excuse for him to be taking your savings to give to his brother for child support. Looks like neither of those men understand what it's like to be a father. Him for taking the money without consulting you first. You for airing your grievances in front of your kids. Am I the asshole for not letting my husband fly to another country to help during a family emergency? My Phil is old and unwell, so now whenever there is an issue my in-laws look towards my husband, oldest son, to solve them. It's not just his immediate family either, his entire extended family also expect the same thing. It would be fine if we lived in the same country, but we don't, so my husband often has to fly away just to solve an issue someone else could have fixed or to play family judge, jury and executioner. The latest issues are the consequences of a series of bad decisions made by my brother-in-law finally catching up to him. He got someone that isn't his wife pregnant and she's threatening to blow his life up, and he got involved in a bad crowd and is now struggling to get out. My mill called my husband to ask him to come and fix things. He told me and was planning to leave immediately, but I asked him not to go. I don't want to be left alone right now, and my brother-in-law is a big boy who knew what he was doing and can do just as much as my husband can to fix things." I started crying when I asked him not to go, and he ended up staying. A few days later, my brother-in-law called me to beg me to let my husband come because he desperately needed his help and that it was time-sensitive emergency. I told him no, and he said I was being selfish and that as family we should help each other during a crisis. Now, he's angry at me. My mill also asked me to reconsider because the situation was causing stress for my Phil, and having my husband there would help ease his worry. Although he hasn't said anything, my husband also clearly wants to go. He's on the phone constantly with his family and is trying to solve things from here, but is very clearly frustrated that he can't do more, that he isn't there. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Op has a newborn, more than reasonable to ask her husband not to go. Even without that, I think it is perfectly reasonable to ask your husband not to drop everything and fly internationally during a global pandemic every time there's some family drama, since this apparently happens rather frequently. I think it's crazy that the family would ask this of the husband. Also, who is expected to pay for all these flights? And lastly, what could he even do? His brother got a mistress pregnant. Literally, what could this husband possibly do? Gift the husband's family a Zoom subscription for the holidays and call it even. Not the asshole. You have a newborn at home and your husband wants to leave the country while we're all still struggling through a pandemic. His brother made his choices and he can be an adult and fix them. Your husband should be worried about his immediate family, which is you and his new child. He can't keep supporting his extended family. Info. What do they expect your husband to do about his brother's self-inflicted social, marital issues? Does brother-in-law wife know about all this? Because that's a shady-ass family if they are hiding it from her. Brother-in-law is an idiot and doesn't want to take care of the mess he made. He needs to grow up and stop relying on this weird toxic family behavior. Not the asshole op, but your husband needs to talk to his sil and be a decent human being. Or you. Not the asshole. To drop your life and fly international on a whim for something is that isn't a medical emergency, is ridiculous and excessive. He should have stayed single or moved back home if he wanted to be that involved. But he didn't, so that's on him. Good luck op. Not the asshole. In some cultures, this is normal. But, his family is you first, and if you have children, and then everyone else. Your brother-in-law is a big boy who got him into whatever mess he got himself into, and now he has to find his way out like everyone else. You have a husband problem. He needs to prioritize his family, meaning you and your new child, over drama of the extended family that they can learn to sort out for themselves. If brother-in-law can call you to beg for your husband's help, he can figure out what to do about his own mess. I frankly don't understand what your husband is expected to do there anyway that brother-in-law can't do for himself. If it's money that your husband is bringing into the situation to try to help solve things, he can offer that from a distance. And I suspect there are untapped resources available from all the women in the family who've been taking a back seat to everything. Maybe they should be allowed some control? But that's not your problem. Not the asshole. Info. What is your husband supposed to with this mistress and baby? Pay them off? Disappear them? Am I the asshole for saying that a customer's daughter bullied me back in high school? We weren't friends? So I work at a department store in a mall near where I grew up. I was bullied in HS. Not to the end of my rope, but it wasn't pleasant. I don't think about it a lot, but sometimes people from HS come through my store. I just do my job and am pleasant to them because I need the money. Anyway, a woman came through to pick up an order, and she gave me the last name and spelled it. I thought, hey, that's Kristen and Katie's last name from HS. It was a pretty unique one. I didn't say anything at first, just normal pleasant chatter. She took the stuff out of the bag to make sure it was right and commented, "My daughters will love these, they just finished college," etc. etc. She essentially confirmed whose mom she was. I was just making small talk and said, "Oh, I think I went to school with a Kristen and Katie last name." She said, "Oh yeah? How funny. Were you friends?" I said, "Oh no, I just knew they were in my grade." She said, "Were you on the volleyball team with them?" I said, "No, I don't think so." She looked at my name tag and said, "That's odd. I think I remember them talking about a penny back then. You must have come over for their birthday or something." That just kinda made me sad, because I've never been to a birthday party before, and I said, "No, I definitely never came over. Kristen bullied me and I don't think I ever talked to Katie." Her entire demeanor changed, which was okay honestly, I had people in line. She didn't say a single thing after that and just kinda left without taking her order sheet. I didn't chase her down to get it to her. She'll have a copy in her email anyway. The next customer in line said something like, "Whew, that was awkward." And my coworker at the counter agreed. They both laughed about it, but later on my coworker said that it was pretty douchey to tell a parent that their kid was a bully. She has a daughter. I don't have kids. I have a betta fish named Carl. On the one hand, yeah, I guess. It was like 4 years ago. But at the same time, it happened, and I'd think a parent would want to know that their kid was a jerk to others so they could talk about it. Even as adults. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Mum just realized she heard her daughter talking about somebody she bullied and did not put two and two together. She just recognized by pushing she learned her daughter was asshole and a bully and was embarrassed by it. You are the asshole, you brought the connection up. What did you think was going to happen? She didn't know who you were. Her daughters probably never mentioned you. She was trying to be polite to someone who seemed to know her family. This entire interaction wouldn't have happened if you hadn't forced it. What? Did you think you would tell their mother how awful her daughter was and she would tearfully beg your forgiveness and call your ex-bully on the phone in front of you and disown her for her crimes? You put this woman who just wanted to do her shopping in peace in an uncomfortable position for no reason. No assholes here. You probably shouldn't have said anything, and she shouldn't have pushed. These errors aren't enough to make anyone the asshole. You are the asshole. Why would you bring up the connection only to hit her with that? It was completely unnecessary. You are the asshole, you brought it up. You basically trapped her into telling her that her daughter was a bully. Obviously the daughter is an asshole for bullying you. Bullies suck. But what good did it do to bring it up to her mom in a store in front of strangers while you were working? There's a time and a place, and this was definitely not it. I would have said not the asshole if she had recognized you and said something like, "Didn't you go to school with my daughters?" and then kept pressing the issue. You are the asshole. You sought out this conversation specifically because you wanted to deliver that feedback, which if you were on your own time is one thing, but totally unprofessional of you to do at work, unprovoked. I'd fire you for harassing the customers and creating a toxic environment. Not the asshole. Not like you broke down in tears or gave horrible descriptions of what they did. Plus, this was more of the other person pushed you to say something because you did deflect it like 2 times, in my grade, and, not on volleyball team. You are the asshole. You brought it up and started the conversation.